Carolina by Taylor Swift. Today I'm looking at a song that Taylor wrote for the movie Where the Crawdads Sing, which came out in 2022. This is one of her non-album tracks. This comes as a request from someone, and I did say at the time that I had been considering doing some of Taylor's non-album tracks, particularly her soundtrack songs. Now, this was specifically written for the movie, and so it's trying to capture the mood and story of the movie. I strongly recommend, if you haven't already, to go and take a look at the Wikipedia page about this song because it's very, very informative. It will tell you a lot more about the musical style and instrumentation and so on the song that I could ever do. I could certainly pretend to know all that and use the Wikipedia information, but I think it would be really beneficial to go and look at what it has to say, the Wikipedia page. The song was extremely well received by critics, although it wasn't a huge chart success. It did chart here in Australia, I know, but it wasn't a huge success. But it was really, really praised by the critics. So go and look at that page. I'm not going to repeat here what it has to say, maybe a couple of little things I will point out along the way. And this is probably going to be a little bit shorter than some of my videos. There's not a whole lot to delve into in the lyrics because it's so closely linked to the movie, to the story that the movie tells, and also to the whole mood of the movie. If you haven't read the book or seen the movie, I'd recommend that you did. I'm not a huge fan of either of them, though I know a lot of people are, but you get a much better understanding of this song if you're also familiar with the story of the movie and the book. So let's take a look at Carolina by Taylor Swift.
Oh, Carolina creeks running through my veins. Lost I was born, lonesome I came, lonesome I'll always stay.
One of the things about this song is the way it reflects the natural world in which the movie and book are set, that of the kind of marshlands of, I think it's North Carolina, but the Carolinas. And she here refers to the Carolina creeks as running through her veins. She's putting herself in the place of the protagonist, Kaya, here in this song. She's speaking from Kaya's perspective. So Kaya is describing her connection to the land. The Carolina creeks run through her veins. Lost I was born, lonesome I came, lonesome I'll always stay. Kaya is born in these marshlands, a very isolated home, and she spends much of her life alone, wandering through the marshes, through the wilderness, and she's very closely connected with that. She describes herself as lonesome. You don't always get the feel that she's lonesome in the sense that she's so connected with the natural world. She's so much part of it. But nevertheless, she clearly does long for human companionship, a more healthy companionship than she gets from her family. And as we'll see a bit later, her mother actually leaves. And her father also leaves later, and for long periods she's left entirely on her own, to cope entirely on her own. The song has a kind of folklore feel. It's very acoustic. It's produced by Aaron Dessner. According to the Wikipedia page, it's written in the style of an Appalachian folk song, and the vocals are very subdued, almost haunting. Another point that I will take from the Wikipedia page is that the song was apparently recorded in a single take.
Oh, Carolina creeks running through my veins. Lost I was born, lonesome I came, lonesome I'll always stay. Carolina knows why for years I roam, free as these birds, light as whispers. Carolina knows.
Carolina knows why for years I roam. Here, Taylor personifies Carolina. She often personifies places, as we've seen in some of her other songs, associating them with people and relationships. And here, Carolina becomes the other character in this song, the other character in the story. Carolina knows why for years I roam. This indicates that she's actually much closer to the natural world, the environment, than she is to any members of her family, all of whom eventually leave in one way or another. She describes herself as free as the birds, light as whispers. She blends into that environment.
Carolina knows why for years I roam, free as these birds, light as whispers. Carolina knows, and you didn't see me here. No, they never did see me here.
So here we get the sense that she's hiding away in the wilderness. She's living a very secretive life. She doesn't really want to be seen by strangers in particular. And of course, without giving too much away about the plot, I guess, there's also the sense that no one witnesses the crime of which she's later accused. You didn't see me here. No, they never did see me here. But that's more generally true, I think, that she hides away. She's like an animal living in the wilderness.
And you didn't see me here. No, they never did see me here. And she's in my dreams, into the mist, into the clouds. Don't leave, I make a fist, I'll make it count. And there are places I will never, ever go, and things that only Carolina will ever know.
And she's in my dreams, into the mist, into the clouds. I think this refers to her mother. At one stage, her mother leaves, and she's always waiting for her to return. She disappears into the mist, into the clouds, but she lives on in Kaya's dreams and in her memories and in her hopes. I make a fist, I'll make it count. So I guess there's an element of anger here also, but she's determined to make the most of her life. I'll make it count. Among other things, she makes a deep study of the natural world and writes about it, and writes poems too. And there are places I will never ever go, and things that only Carolina will ever know. So again, Carolina is a partner in this. Carolina is the other character. Only Carolina knows certain secrets about her. And that has to do with places she will never go, places she steers clear of for various reasons. But only Carolina will ever know the full truth.
And she's in my dreams, into the mist, into the clouds. Don't leave, I make a fist, I'll make it count. And there are places I will never, ever go, and things that only Carolina will ever know. Carolina stains on the dress she left, indelible scars, pivotal marks, blue as the life she fled.
This now refers explicitly to her mother. Carolina's stains on the dress refers to a dress that she finds in the wardrobe that's covered in stains, and they're blood stains. And her mother is being abused by her father, and that's what the blood stains refers to. That's why her mother has left. But it's left these marks on the dress and it leaves indelible scars. That's one of Taylor's favourite kinds of images, I think, these indelible scars that it leaves, pivotal marks. This is the moment that's marked Kaya's life when her mother leaves, and of course it marked the mother's life too. And then again, Taylor uses one of her favourite images, blue as the life she fled. The marks that are left on her are blue. Blue usually refers to sadness in Taylor's songs, to depression. So she's representing the deep sorrow that she feels that her mother has left her.
Carolina stains on the dress she left, indelible scars, pivotal marks, blue as the life she fled. Carolina pines, won't you cover me, hide me like ropes down the back road, muddy these webs we weave.
There's a lot to unpack in those few lines. Carolina pines, won't you cover me, is in the first instance referring to the trees, the pine trees in Carolina, asking them to provide her shelter, to keep her hidden. But Taylor has often used the word pine in her other songs, and pine means to deeply mourn, really. To pine, the loss of something, is to mourn very deeply. So I think there's a double meaning here. She's referring to the trees, but she's also that, along with her, Carolina pines at the loss of her mother. But she's asking the trees, she's asking the natural world to hide her, to cover her. Hide me like robes down the back road. So she's only travelling the back roads, staying out of sight. Now, this might refer to Kaya's life in general, to her desire to remain hidden, but it may also refer to the incident that occurs later in the book. And she's actually accused of murder. And muddy these webs we weave, I think that's a reference to the tangled webs we weave when first we practice to deceive. So I think it refers to that, and the muddy just gives it that kind of marshland feel, adds that little local flavour to the kinds of webs that are being woven here.
Carolina pines, won't you cover me, hide me like ropes down the back road, muddy these webs we weave. And you didn't see me here, they never saw me. Oh, Carolina knows why for years they've said that I was guilty as sin and sleep in a liar's bed. But the sleep comes fast and I'll meet no ghosts. It's between me, the sand and the sea. Carolina knows.
Here she's referring to the crime that she's accused of. She was acquitted of murder. And Carolina knows why for years they've said that I was guilty as sin. So the implication is that even though she was acquitted, there are many people who think she's actually guilty of the crime and that she sleeps in a liar's bed. So obviously she was not telling the truth. But then she adds, but sleep comes fast. She has no trouble sleeping. So guilty or not, she has no trouble sleeping. If she committed the crime, she has no regrets. She has no regrets about the person who died. Anyway, let's put it that way. I'll meet no ghosts. So she's not haunted by this person. And it's a secret. What actually happened is a secret that is kept between me, the sand, and the sea. Carolina knows. So the landscape, the natural environment in which she lives, that's the only witness to what actually took place. Only Carolina and Kaya herself, of course. But otherwise, only Carolina knows what really happened. That's the secret that she keeps.
Oh, Carolina knows why for years they've said that I was guilty as sin and sleep in a liar's bed. But the sleep comes fast and I'll meet no ghosts. It's between me, the sand and the sea. Carolina knows.
Again, according to the Wikipedia page, the only instruments used in the song are instruments that were available before 1953, which is when the story was set. There's strings, guitar, banjo, mandolin. There is also a synthesizer in there, I have to say, according to the musical credits. But mostly it's written deliberately using old-style instruments, sung in a very subdued, almost, as I said before, almost haunting tone. I think Taylor Swift's vocals are superb on this. She catches just the right note. The song fits perfectly with the theme of the movie, with the setting of the movie, with the story. It's all there in the song. Very well done. I think it probably deserves much more credit than it actually gets. There is a lot more about the song that you could find out from the Wikipedia page, which I'm not going to repeat here. As I said, it's well worth a read. Taylor has this way of visualizing stories and putting them into words, in just a few words that capture so beautifully the scene, the mood. I think someone commented that it's as if the song just tells the entire story of the movie in just a few words, a few carefully placed words and phrases. A really, really well written and well performed song.